Welcome back, everybody, to the Roll the Bones podcast. I'm joined today by my dear friend, Governor Trev, victim advocate, powerhouse. He's from the wood chipper tribe with JD Delay. I also know him as my fellow mod over with Jason Vukovic in the Onelight Family, and I see a lot of us represented today in this chat. Trev, it's good to see you, brother. How are you tonight, my friend? Hold on, I can't hear you at all. My friend.
What about now?
Say it one more time.
We good to go?
Yes, sir. Now I can hear you. Perfectly fine. All right. America has been suffering as of late. This is not something that we can sit silently and expect it to go away. We need to become unified here. Extremist groups, both sides of the aisle, have been running rampant for far too long. It's been 10 years straight now of complete carnage and bloodshed. We need to resolve this, Trev. And it starts with both of us. It starts with everybody here in this chat. It starts in your small communities. The needless murder of Charlie Kirk needs to be set. Should reflect, how vicious and how dark things have become. It's a sad day for it's really I feel a total loss. It's a sad day for America, brother.
It's absolutely horrible, man. I'm at a loss of words. I have been for days. True gut punch, absolute gut punch to our country.
Yeah. We don't need to see this death anymore. We've been I don't even think people are mad at each other. I think it rains, the fire that gets rained from big corporations, big media, big pharma, big tech, everybody, all the corporations that basically control this country, and not just us. They control everything. They want us to hate each other. We're force-fed misinformation all the time on rapid scale. Everybody that has a personal phone is now a personal journalist. Then they participate in the spreading of the hatred. And it's time that we audit everybody.
Absolutely.
Where does this begin for you? Where does this begin for you, man? Where does it start?
So personally, here where I'm at, we are getting ready to rally in support of Charlie, regardless of any negativity from anybody who wants it. It doesn't matter. Hopefully it's a peaceful protest. This will be happening at CSU, Colorado State University. There's another group that's trying to do a candlelight memorial. But honestly, a lot of us are done with the bullshit, man. And, I get wanting to support him and remember him. There's tons of people who loved him. I listen to him daily. But enough's enough. And I live in a very blue state. CSU is a very blue college. And I think it'll be interesting. But, I do not condone violence. But at a certain point, I'm not going to be a victim either.
100%.
So we do have a group that's getting ready, completely nonviolent, you know what I mean, to go and rally at the time and place where Charlie was supposed to be. And a continuance from that is in the making. We're not quite sure how we're going to do things. Turning Point USA itself is based around students, high school, college students. But that doesn't mean that we cannot do something ourselves.
I think it's reliant on the back of us, not namely just me and you.
Americans.
Like we need to stop this hate. We're not like everybody across from opposing viewpoints are not your enemy. Like, everybody hate, like, it just automatically looks at the other side as a devil, blames them for every issue. Conservative minded people like myself, yeah, sure, we have things that we need to take responsibility for. We also, but right now, from my personal standing and what I've seen and over the last 10 years, I've watched cities be set on fire. I've watched our ICE agents be mercilessly attacked and murdered. I talked to a family the other day who lost a family member during the attacks on the ICE agents in Los Angeles. Antifa muscling and bullying people and showing up with guns and scaring people and individuals. People just murdered for trying to protect their communities, demonized for it. People that have lost their jobs over X, Y, and Z just because they don't agree with the political thing. Now, I don't agree with cancel culture. JD did a reel about this the other day, and I 100% agree with him. I don't agree with cancel culture, but it is kind of fun to watch karma come back and kick motherfuckers in the teeth when you want to sit there. And I believe that you have no right and no place amongst civilized society if you will go out and make a reel celebrating the vicious murder of an individual murdered. You know what? The best thing I heard in relation to Charlie Kirk, and I think it really needs to hit deep with these people. Charlie wasn't peddling hate speech. He just said shit you hated.
It's true. And I would
go ahead.
Say, I don't look at this just as a murder. This is a political and religious martyr, which is something we have not seen, in a long time in our country. And it's disgusting that it's gotten to this point.
Absolutely. Joining us now is we have another guest coming in with us tonight in this discussion. Former U.S. Army sniper, Sergeant Cody Boden. I'm looking forward to having this conversation. He's a friend of Brother Trev. Here, let's join him into this. Hey, there he is.
How's it going, fellas?
How's it going, buddy?
I'm good. Sorry, I'm just making sure I got.
Nah, take your time. Get caught up. Your camera isn't fired on just yet, but
there we go.
But what were we saying? You were saying a political murder. On you guys, there's a little bit of a kickback on.
Cody, do you have a mic on or YouTube playing in the background?
No, I don't have anything in the background.
I don't either, so I'm not sure.
Is it my headphones?
It might be.
Let me see. I'll try to take them off. Hold on real quick. How's that now?
It sounds good.
Sounds better, good.
All right, so, sir, I'm honored to have you join us tonight for this topic. Trev was just saying that this is a massive political assassination. If you wanted to finish that, what you were saying, Trev, and then we'll get into let Cody talk for a minute.
Absolutely. A lot of us are taking this as not just a murder, but as a political and a religious martyr, which is something we haven't seen in a long time. As far as politically, some could argue that JFK was the last political martyr. But religious-wise, I can't personally, except for people who've died in violent attacks at churches, I can't think of anybody, besides that. I'm not saying that by any means, they don't count, but something that is televised, something that has been, coming from a man who a lot of us have a daily connection with, as far as, me, myself, I know Cody as well, listen to this man, watch this man every day. We were excited like high school kids, with tickets ready to go see his debate at CSU. And it's a lot more than just a murder. At this point, I would call it a murder for sure.
100%. So what's your take on this, Cody?
I definitely agree, most definitely with Trevor. Like, people don't want to say it, but this MLK had a huge impact on the world, right? Just imagine if Martin Luther King had a camera recording him when everything happened. JFK, it was recorded, but it wasn't live like this. It wasn't 6,000 people up, or 3,000, close to 3,000 people up close and personal, and then billions have access to it now. To the coverage of, we haven't seen that kind of coverage of anything since, I don't know, probably the World Trade Center, of when the television was taken over completely. COVID and stuff like that. Yeah, they would inundate the TV with jargon, but at the same time, one topic, one thing. It's been a long time since we've been that focused on anything. And it was a direct attack on biblical proportion, because that's where Charlie stood first. If you look back to where he based everything out of, was his scriptural, biblical beliefs and scriptural basis for everything. He didn't say something because it was his opinion. It was something that he read in scripture, and he was convicted to feel the way he felt. And I've listened to, I don't know how many podcasts, how many videos, tapings, and you name it. We lost a very big piece of this world. We're going to grow more from it, but at the same time, like, we lost a lot of wisdom in a 31-year-old man.
Yeah, that's very true. The world, see, you know what, and this is why one of Charlie's greatest strengths. He took an 18-year-old kid, proved, like, outside of like going to college to become, and if you're going into the legal field or the medical field, and even in education, like, that's fine, but he proved that, like, it's not 100%, necessary. He built a Fortune 500 company from nothing, just a little bit of, he represents the grind, bro, hustling. He climbed up the ladder, and look at him. And I just saw a thing with him. It was a video his wife had shared of Charlie talking about the fact that, he's 31 years old. But before he was 30, he had met with world leaders. He's been in the Oval Office multiple times. He's headlined some of the biggest political events of this, decade, of the last, like, probably 20 years. He lived, for the short time he was here, bro, like, the man lived a very fulfilled life.
Yes.
Like, I'm almost 40, and I don't think I've lived anywhere near the life that he's lived. Not even a tenth of it. You know what I'm saying? But we need to take Charlie's wisdom, and we need to start applying it to our local communities, and it has to start here. We can't just go to the top of the tower and demand that Washington changes. You want to start change, it has to be within, like, your local towns, the small governments. Start there,
Absolutely.
And it's time that we all just bark back. Actually, not even bite back, because we've been. I look at I want to see this world go back to the way it was when COVID started. At the start of it, and as horrific as that situation was, I saw people putting down their political guns to help each other. look out for each other. People that couldn't get places, they were helping them. Oh, this elderly person needed medication. People knew that their kids were they're taken away from everybody, so they tried to make the best of those situations. You saw more families coming together until the summer started, and then it was complete and utter chaos, and it's been nonstop ever since. The mind can only take so much, and this carnage, people need to realize this isn't just adults that witness this; it's young kids that have to watch this unfold in front of them.
Absolutely.
Like, it's traumatic. Knowing I had to have a conversation with my oldest son the other day to explain to him, because somebody tricked him into watching Charlie getting killed. When he was at school, I had to explain it to him, what this is. And the thing that came out of his mouth was, so what? You just say how you feel and then you get killed for it. And it's like, no, that's just that, like, he's a young kid, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I said this the other night, this whole situation makes me scared for friends of ours. Makes me scared for you, Trev, for Amy, for you, for JD Delay, for Jason, for Buck Angel, for Anthony Arillotta. It makes me scared for people that dare, go against the system or call it out. We gotta cool the fire down. So, Cody, what in your opinion? What can we do in your opinion to cool it down?
Man, I think we ought to listen to Charlie and first off, go back to church, whether that's your beliefs, whatever that may be. I'm not here to say anybody's beliefs are right, wrong, or indifferent, but if your beliefs are based out of hatred and evil and war, maybe you shouldn't go back there. Maybe you should come over to some of ours. But, if you go to church, maybe you need to go back to church. Maybe you need to put your phone down and stop the continuous flood of information that you don't necessarily need. I haven't even really posted much about this, or even, me and Trev talked, me and you've talked, but that's as most as it's been, is because anytime I open my phone, I used to get excited to see what Charlie would post and to see what would come about. But now it's just fed to you, and it's just a constant reminder of that's no more. We're looking at the past now. There's no more future of him. Yes, there will be a bigger and brighter future for all of us through this, but taking a step back and realizing that violence isn't going to do anything for anybody. And this is coming from somebody, when I say this, like, JD Delay said it not even too long ago very well when he was talking about it. He's like, I've seen violence, indiscriminate violence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Now, I was at war, so I guess that is discriminate to a point, but they didn't care who or what they did it to. And, it would be Sunni versus Shiite, and then all of a sudden they would turn, and it didn't matter if it was you or the Sunni, they were going after whichever one they wanted, the target of opportunity. And this world is not ready for that level of execution of violence. There's plenty of us that have been through it, post 9/11. There's a good amount of veterans that have been and seen combat that you probably don't want to wake them back up, because we don't want to go back to there, because we know what it's done. And taking some of us 20 years in counseling just to be able to manage a night of sleep, much less even, some people have taken their lives. Some people have taken other people's lives, So if it comes down to it, the violence isn't the answer. That's gonna temporarily silence one person, and you're gonna make somebody else even more angry, and then you don't know what the other repercussion is gonna become. But we lose our choice to have a discord and have a conversation between one another, and maybe get to the bottom of it, or at least figure out that you can't get along.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Trev?
I agree with Cody.
Give me 3 seconds, gentlemen. I'll be right back.
I think that, first and foremostly, I just want to touch on something you said. Everybody has a phone in their pocket these days. I am the only person I know that does not allow my child to have social media. He has a smartphone with everything locked on it except for phone calls and text messaging. And the only reason it's a smartphone and not a flip phone is so I can have a GPS on him. And he's a teenager, it's just what it is. But, that's one way that my wife and I have tried to kind of shield him from a lot of the stuff that's out there. But man, I think that the level of how graphic this has been, and how graphic this situation has been, the level, it's very disturbing. It's on a disturbing level. A lot of people aren't used to seeing that type of stuff. Me, myself, I've never served. I've never been in war like Cody has, but I have done a very long time in prison. And man, I've had my own versions of war, and instead of using guns, we're using knives. And it instantly was a revert back to some of the things I've seen and some of the things that I've done. And it's just a disturbing feeling. I think that with the level of graphic violence that this situation has been, just a single gunshot, which just blows my mind. I don't know if there is, and I hate to say this, I don't know if there is going to be a resolve without there being more violence. And it's scary. Having all three of us have kids, all three of us have young kids, and it's fucking scary, man. I know that I'm willing to do whatever I need to do for my children's upbringing, for their safety and for their future. And I know that you two feel the same way and will do the same thing. But I don't know how to answer that, except for that. I wish, I hope, I pray, because Charlie wouldn't, the last thing he would want was just for this to be turned into some radicalized movement. But like I said earlier, we're going to CSU, and, some people want to do a candlelight vigil. Some people want to, whatever, man. I'm going to be there for Charlie. And if there's people there and it gets crazy, it gets fucking crazy, man. I don't know what else to say. I do know personally that I've been attacked on social media pretty bad over the last 48 hours. Being called a Nazi, people doxing my address, all for simply sharing videos of Charlie, saying that you're a fucking piece of shit if you laugh or are celebrating something as disturbing as this. I think that shows the political violence. I think that shows that political violence is here.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time comprehending.
I agree. It's kind of hard to process, and it's, if you look at past assassinations, whether it was Martin Luther King, or John F. Kennedy, or like the attempt on Reagan back in the 80s, you even 9/11, even though it was an assassination of a large group of Americans, a very public murder, like with that, it wasn't really met with this severe, lash back that, right now, this is a very real threat. And I implore anybody on the right, you cannot, like I said the other day, we can't play that game, like that scene with Sean Connery and the Untouchables. He's like, when he says, he's like, oh, if they shoot one of yours, you send one of theirs to the morgue. You know what I mean? We cannot go tit for tat. This isn't a game. And I would condemn anybody on the right too if I caught you laughing, making a mockery of somebody being heinously murdered. And I promise you, like, you know what? And I'm conservative through and through. If somebody sent me a video of somebody celebrating the murderers of the politicians in Minnesota, you bet your ass, bro. Like, I'm gonna put you up, and I'm gonna freaking make a fool of you and call you out for being a piece of shit. The same way I'm gonna do that to everybody, and there seems to be an overwhelming amount of people that are doing this. Like, this is like the new meme to share around, making fun of Charlie. There was a guy, Stephen Q, and I'll post the information later. Who was manufacturing action figures of like those little collectible busts of Charlie getting killed in the chair. Selling them for $40. And he has a business. It's called the Mr. Mullet's Hostel. Okay. What really what these are the sickest. This isn't normal Democrats. This isn't normal independents or Republicans. These are the worst type of humanity. It's just walking proof that we've all discussed this privately. We've discussed it with Jason, other stuff. These demons are amongst us. You have the guy that it was in the intro video, the one that was standing up with the arms in the air, cheering, laughing. Now he's up there trying to spare himself because I was screaming USA. You weren't screaming USA. In hopes to save people or spare people. No, you're an asshole that had the audacity to laugh over a body. Where was the caring and the thought to everybody else? What if that guy just kept lobbing shots, into that crowd? You'd be cheering for them, and not everybody shared the same opinion. But some of those victims could have been, against Charlie. But you're celebrating. There was a gunman that was firing into a crowd. Or another monster I saw posting a video how he wants to pee in a bunch of jars and mail them to Charlie's kids. What type of demented individual thinks of that, and then thinks to make a video about it? It's despicable.
Yeah, that's heinous, man. That just made my blood boil. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't understand how. Fuck the politics. You know what I mean? Just pause for a second. Fuck the politics. Fuck the religion aspect of everything. Fuck all of it. Our whole country just watched a grown man get murdered in front of his wife and kids.
Yes.
And not just like, dude's dead, he got poisoned. No, he got shot in the jugular, man.
Yeah.
Like, graphic. I don't understand.
And what I watched. I don't know if anybody has seen Erica's speech last night. I thought she did an amazing job.
Amazing.
But it's one of the most heartbreaking things you'll ever listen to, and and the part when she's sitting there talking about her, and it shows the innocence of these kids, bro. Like, a little girl comes up asking where her father is, and what she's right. What do you say to that? There's no right or wrong answer. That was so upsetting to me. I think as a parent, especially, I hope I pray that I never get put in that situation.
Agreed.
Yeah, but these are some of the issues that are climbing up, and Cody, you had touched on it before about, some of the veterans, bro, in the issues that they suffer. This is another major thing that we need to start talking about is, it's horrible enough the people that lose their lives, defending, our freedoms, fighting overseas and whatever's needed. But a lot of them, they bring that war home with them still. They're still there, and it's costing their lives. It's I think more than ever, and we've seen too much of it. There's some of the VA locations in California were locking people out, wouldn't let them get proper attention. They, even when it comes to the, I know it's a little, it's a very politicized issue, but we need to ensure that they get that help that they need. And, what's been your experience dealing with the VA?
Cody's got a story, man. This shit's fucked up. I'm gonna take a break for a second. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Yeah, homie.
I'm actually currently in liver failure as we sit here living and speaking and breathing. I caught hepatitis C when I was overseas, and they didn't catch it. The Army didn't catch it. DOC didn't catch it. Nobody caught it. The VA finally caught it in 2017, so 11 years-ish, 10 years-ish. And then they put me on, they're like, hey, they made a phone call. This is how sensitive they are. They made a phone call and asked me if I was sitting down. I was like, no, but you can tell me whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, like, what could you be telling me, And so she's like, oh, well, we just want you to know you have hepatitis C. And I was like, what? Because, like, we're old enough that when we heard that used to be far and few between.
Right.
But when, third world countries, it's not. Just like tuberculosis, it's everybody over there has tuberculosis, But so they gave me a pill for a year, and then they're like, oh, you're cured. And that was pretty much it. Well, after that, I figured the word cured meant cured. I didn't do any research on my own, which I should have done. But I continued to live life, and I ended up becoming, I had my drug problems. I had my drinking, not really, I didn't ever really have drinking problems, but I drank. When I was in the Army, I drank heavy. We drink every weekend, just like any other soldier does, or Marine or Airman or, boatsman, whatever they call Navy people, boatsman. But, like, fast forward, I'm sitting here, it's 2.5 years ago, and I thought I had a UTI, man, and I went to the doctor, and they're like, no, you're in liver failure. And I'm like, what? And he's like, he was treating me like we were on episode 3 of season 2 of Intervention. Like, you want to die, drink another drop of alcohol. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I don't even drink that much. Like, two beers a night, or a beer with dinner, and then 5, 6, 7 on the weekends, whatever. Like, you're acting like I'm drinking a bottle,
Right.
But they've definitely made it hard and made me feel like I still have to prove that I have the right to live. And then not even counting the mental health portion of it, when I first came out that was when the red flag laws really didn't exist, and basically everybody was scared. And you're 39, you know what I'm talking about. When I first came home in 2008, 2009, and when I was getting out in 2008 or 2009, 2010, you didn't say nothing about your mental health because you didn't want to lose your guns.
Yeah.
That's what about. If you have PTSD, you're going to lose your guns. So I didn't want to lose my First Amendment rights. I didn't want to lose any rights. So I kept it to myself, and I ended up, in a far worse position than I ever should have been because of the fact that I was taking prescription pain pills. I wasn't abusing them, but they were being used to help deal with something up here that I didn't even realize was going on.
Right.
And the VA has never been helpful. They have always felt very judgmental, and they feel checked out. There's some people in there that you run across that are great people, great doctors, great nurses. But we're talking like 1 out of 100. That's not very good odds. You go into a 100-person building here in Loveland, Colorado, and you're not going to find one good one. That's all. There's only 50 people there.
Right.
Half that person's missing, I guess. I don't know. So the VA has gotten better by force, and I will say that this is over the current administration's doing. And I felt that way when he first came in his first term. President Trump definitely made a massive impact in basically saying, if you're not going to help them, you're going to be gone. And, we felt empowered at that point. They're like, no, we'll report you if that's the issue. But, it was just like, not even 2 years ago when I was doing what they call a tracer packet. So I need a liver transplant. And for that process, they need what they call a tracer packet to approve and say, yes, Cody needs a liver, right? He has cirrhosis. He's going to die if he doesn't get one. More of a formality thing, whatever. But so I go in and I see mental health. And I don't even remember what we were talking about, but the way I was wording something, it was me versus them, and it was me versus the VA, kind of, you know? And he said, you know, he's like, Mr. Boden, he was like, I am them. And I sat back and I was like, see, that's the problem. I've been waiting for you to say that. That I wanted to know. You say you're a veteran that works for the VA, yet you're on that side of the table claiming that you're in opposition to me. Like, why are you in opposition? Why am I, you know, why is this the case?
Right.
And it had something to do with my Suboxone. I was on Suboxone for, I am on Suboxone for opioid therapy treatment. And I was coming down, you know, I'm coming off of it, and I'm excited for a liver transplant, brother, because this is going to be my chance to come off Suboxone, get onto pain pills, wean down, and be done with it, you know, like whole new life. Like, I'm ready. But they still, to this day, in 2024 at the time, have a they them mentality of there's a divide. And how do you get another veteran to consider himself part of, you know, that's like a snitch in prison acting like he's a cop. You know,
Right.
you're not a cop, you're an inmate. You know, it doesn't matter how much you tell on me, you're still an inmate. No matter how much you are a doctor, you served with me, you know, or you could have served under the same, you know, code. But they have definitely left us out to dry. And I still know Vietnam vets that are getting kind of like erased, for lack of a better way to put it. Like, they just come in and they're like, no, you don't have any benefits. And they're like, wait a minute, I've had dental my whole life. No, you don't qualify. Well, why don't you qualify now? If you qualified then, there should be nothing that unqualifies you unless you didn't actually serve, right?
Yeah.
And that's just asinine to me, to think that, for one, if you get injured in war, everything should be covered. It shouldn't be anything to do with, like, is that service connected or not? No. You know, a lot of people, you know, don't realize when I say, you know, something we forgot to mention in the very beginning. I have 2 Purple Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Now you know this. Like, if you go look at how many people are find that can talk to you and have 2 Purple Hearts. Usually it's one, and then posthumously they get the second one.
Right.
And you know, I still have to look at, like, oh, is that service connected? And I'm like, no, it's all service connected, dude. Like, you guys blew me up from head to toe. Like, yes, I have all my limbs and all my body parts, but, like, if it's sleep apnea, who cares if it's genetic? Who cares what it is? I served, I put down my life, I gave you my all, but you can't take care of all of me. You know, so the VA had, I mean, we could spend a whole 2 days talking about this, you know. But the hard part is they ask you to go do something, you do it, and then they don't want to help you get through it. And they don't want to realize that something's happening. Well, now let's take this back in. Now you have 3,000 plus whatever people witness this. Like you said, you had to talk to your son. I seen a clip on a video on the internet where a dad was all fired up, and he's like, you know, I had to talk to my daughter. She came home today and she had been force fed. There was like 3 girls at the school running around celebrating. Yeah, he got shot. Kids, for one, do you know what you're showing? Do you realize this? Is this what Call of Duty has done to this generation, to this age of kids? You're not going to spawn in the corner when you die. You're not going to come back to the corner of the map and run back over here. It's done. And I think that, you know, I think that that's been lost in, like, how truly grotesque everything really is. And luckily, was it a big bloody scene? No, because me and you, we all 3 know how bad that could have been, right? If that thing,
absolutely,
that much higher, it would have been a terrible scene.
Worse than it was, for sure.
You know, it would have been a lot different.
Yeah, it'd be horrible. I mean, it was still
Right.
graphic, but his
Yes.
head being taken off would have been a whole different story. For
Whole
sure.
different- Like, we were blessed that that's what we had to witness, and that's it, you know. And the thing is like, people, going back to the violence with how do we fix this, right? This is something I was thinking about. I honestly think that the perpetrator that did this, whether it be the one they have or the one they find or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
they need to show him hanging, shot, or poisoned, whichever one that they choose to do.
Utah has the firing squad still.
Right. Yeah. With they got the injection table or they got the firing squad. They should publicly show the entire fucking world. This is what FAFO actually means. And that's justice. There's nothing wrong with justice being served, right?
Mm.
But people need to realize that there is an atonement for your actions. And whether you believe in God or not, somebody else can erase you off this planet for your decision to take somebody else's right to live away. You know?
And it's crazy, man. Like, you know, since my kids were little, think about, you know, I know a big topic of conversation, of, you know, opposing viewpoints like to run with is January 6th. Now, I don't really necessarily agree with, you know, how people conducted themselves in that situation. But you know, but the thing is, if we're gonna say that, then you know, I want to remind people of J20 2017, Trump's inauguration day, and the widespread violence that took place through Washington D.C. in hopes to stop his inauguration. Buildings were being, you know, looted, smashed. You know, there's countless videos out there. Go ahead and take a look for yourself of the SWAT teams being deployed. After that, but ever since this moment, you know, my kids, since from their youngest years, have had to witness widespread, grand scale violence, needless violence. And some of it, you know what? Look, like if you want to make change, if you want to go and fucking destroy something, I'm going to tell you the one cause that I will always stand by and support in that thing, or if you're going to go out and just audit the world and demand that child traffickers and the fent dealers that are killing people with this shit are brought to justice and stop getting this pass, then I will back and support. I don't, as long as you're not killing innocents, but beyond that, because over trivial ass shit, because you don't like who's in an elected position, a violent response is not a rational response. It just proves that, like, you know, I expect this out of a child. Like you're treating it like a child that you said no to, and they throw in a fit. But and they act like they're revolutionaries. That you're some just, you know, you're justified in, you know, causing chaos. Well, think about what you're doing to like the younger crowd, because eventually you're going to become an old fucking, you know, an old fart like the rest of us. And you're not going to be, you know, so happy when that generation starts burning your shit down, threatening you. Think about people like the political suppression coming from, you know, that's, you know, these extremists it's staggering. People that put a Trump flag in their, you know, in their front yard or a sign, and they get a Molotov cocktail thrown at their house.
Cody has a story for that. Yeah.
Oh God.
We live in the same neighborhood, man. This is my best friend.
It's funny.
Oh man.
Funny, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell the story.
No, I got a letter mailed to me that said it's basically I have a MAGA. This is ultra MAGA country. That's all it says, and it's been flown for 4 years. It was flown through Biden. It didn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
And I got a letter in the mail, and it said, you know, basically it was like, it's funny, you know, you have that flag up. Now we know who the idiots are, you know, and we know which house to burn down. And it was just like, as much as my wife doesn't want to believe it, I know she still pays an extra eye out. She's always looking a little bit more, paying a little bit more attention, because exactly that. Just because it says this is ultra MAGA country doesn't say anything mean. That's all. But go ahead. Sorry. No.
But but this is a prime example, bro. When you have, and this isn't just like, random normal people that are spouting this kind of shit. You know where it stems from? It stems from media fucking propaganda machine. It also stems from when you have a sitting president of the United States that is constantly framing Republicans as Nazis, threats to democracy. They're out to kill you. I mean, and Trump has said that shit too. I mean, he doesn't make it fucking right calling it both, calling both sides. But how I watch more often, it's coming from extremist this extremist ideology that every one of us is out to, destroy your existence, kill you. We're gonna round people up in death camps in crazy shit like that. But what's crazy is AOC was once quoted by stating that we need to put these people on a list. For what purpose? The other ones, the countless, the montage that a left-leaning extremist deny exist, even though it was aired during Trump's second impeachment trial. Over who started violent rhetoric. Chuck Schumer screaming about the whirlwind, Maxine Waters demanding that if you see a Trump supporter out there, stop them, tell them they're not wanted here. What the hell is that? A friend of mine, who's black, he has a collection on his computer of the tolerant white liberals and how they view his conservative ass. It looked like his inbox looked like a fucking Klan rally. I am tired of the holier than thou virtue signaling. We need, even they should consider how you're antagonizing violence, and we're against it, obviously, but you're antagonizing violence and you're offended over Aunt Jemima. You're offended over, you fall apart when somebody uses the incorrect pronoun, like I'm supposed to guess. And I'm like, you know what? You live your life how you want to live your life. But if you got a Grizzly Adams ass size beard, wearing a dress and makeup, and you coming in talking with a baritone voice, how the fuck am I supposed to figure it out? I just but if you say something, they're coming back destroying your building. You're getting rat packed over because you said, hey, buddy, and you want to antagonize and you want to perpetuate that we need to go to fucking war? That's crazy. People need, they have become, like Trev had said it before, you had said it, they've become so desensitized to consequences. Like, they don't believe that they exist. And it all stems from the phones. Because there's a safety inside of typing some crazy shit online.
Right.
Because what happens? You turn your phone off for the night. You go to bed. Because Cody especially, if you talk that shit at somebody to their face, there's a high chance, especially in our generation, you get punched in the mouth or worse. And I definitely know, Trev, I know you handle your business.
I've already been punching motherfuckers in the mouth, brother. It's crazy, man. Like the people that know me, that I spend time around, they know the type of individual I am. And waking up, having a normal night's sleep, waking up normal for me is not normal for other people. But so that's, neither here nor there. But waking up and having, on my Facebook wall being called a fucking Nazi when, the people who know me, and even the people who know me in passing, and I'm not talking like these days, like Cody responded to this dude, and gave him not the definition of a Nazi from Hitler's party, but a current Nazi. And man, it's just, I think that you showed a lot of emotion a minute ago there, Chris, and I really believe we are coming down to a flashpoint, a boiling point here in America. And whether it's, go on some super crazy conspiracy shit for a minute, the government or the Big Brother or the people who run Big Brother trying to get both sides or different religious views to fight each other, whatever, who knows? Or if it's as simple as what we see, or if it's just where we're at with our country, man, like something, like I said, something's either got to change and change fucking fast, or this flashpoint, this boiling point that we're coming to, it's crazy. The way I've felt since the 10th, and I also have been going through some personal shit, so maybe it's slightly off, but I feel like my intuition is good, so I doubt it. When I did prison time, man, and Cody did prison time with me as well, so he can describe the same thing. Man, when there's about to be a stabbing or somebody's about to get fucking brutally bashed, ran in on by 4, 5, 6 dudes, there is a thickness in the air that you could fucking cut with a butter knife. You can feel it. And I have felt that way since the 10th.
Yeah, man. I agree. I felt a certain type of way. I think I've been feeling this. I talked to you a little bit about it. Probably over the last couple weeks, I felt like a certain type of way. But I realized that when I started doing this show, I didn't anticipate the amount of fucking hatred and contempt that I would receive. I also received an overwhelming amount of love. But I'm going to tell you the 3 interviews that I've done where I caught the most backlash were with Anthony Arillotta, because people don't like his, they don't, how dare you sit and talk. Anthony's probably one of the most brilliant business minds of this fucking era. He's also, he inspires me, this man, he encouraged me to push outside my comfort zone. Johnny A-Light, I caught a ton of backlash because we got political. We talked about shit that made people uncomfortable. And the biggest one was when I sat with Jason Vukovic. Jason, who, if people haven't followed him yet, and then you wait, get the fuck on it, man. Amy, if you could share that for me, you got to go over and check out Jason, the Alaskan Avenger. But somebody told me they were gonna cut my fucking head off. Somebody told me they were gonna firebomb me because I talked to Anthony Arillotta. Somebody told me that they were gonna gun me down after I talked to Johnny A-Light. And here's my response to you: I ain't fucking going anywhere. You know what? You don't dictate. If you don't like what I'm saying, then don't fucking watch it. That's what I'm gonna say to you. If you want to sit here and if you want to come and have a conversation with civility, I will put you on the show and we will conduct a civil conversation. And I would love to sit down with somebody in an opposing viewpoint to have that conversation. I interview the people I interview because I want to educate my mind, expand it to other thoughts, other ideas, life experiences. Trev, one of the most influential people I know. You've been around the block for forever. Michelle, amazing. Amy, amazing. Jason, these are people that deserve that recognition, that want to find a solution that doesn't result in violence. But to those that are going to try to scare and intimidate, threaten Trev, threaten to burn your house down, Cody, threaten me because they don't like who I sit with, that's none of your fucking business.
No.
It's and this is a problem because you're mad because I sat with a mob boss. Big deal. If you don't like it, move on. You know what? If you want to do it, then you hit them up, book them up, and you have the conversation you want to have. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to abuse anybody on this platform And like everybody's entitled. And like, you know what Travis Ritchie said, me and him had talked about it before. Storytelling is the fabric of society. Everybody's got a story. It doesn't matter where you come from in life. It doesn't matter. And the more of these collections of stories that get out there, you know, people, there's a lot of, you can educate yourself through a lot of, you know, failures of the past. It doesn't mean we need to reel in them and revel in, you know, let's move past, you know, terrible things that have happened 100 years ago and start figuring out, all right, that's bad. We're not going to make that mistake today. Stop making, you know, we like it's crazy and crazier. Like I will, you know, me and my wife caught so much bullshit because we told our kids, you know, don't see people for skin color, see them for the assholes that they are, or the decent people that they are. But I'm a scumbag and a psychopath for saying such a crazy notion. You know, so with that, it's like, you know, you're fucking demonizing Martin Luther King, people that did the March of Life, people that stood for something meaningful. I feel like there's no heroes in today's story in these riots and protests. I feel like we're swimming in a sea of villains, bro.
Well, and like Nisha just said in chat, man, much love to Michelle. Love you, sis. No pun intended, but we're at a turning point. You know, I was trying to figure out what to say. Boiling point, flashpoint. We are at a fucking turning point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is, man. I don't know what this type of evil is something that, and I've seen evil, man, and you know, I haven't been to war, I haven't whatever, but I've battled my own demons. You know, I've done a gang of prison time, and this is an evil I've never seen myself. You know, it's just, it's hard to put words to it, and
the coward.
Like
Sorry.
Well, I know. Go ahead, Cody. Go for it.
The cowardice of it. What you're saying, the evilness, not even evil because it doesn't have a face. They're too to do it themselves.
Right. It's like, you know, the fucking school shooters, these school shooters. You know, like that is a face of evil. But, you know, when you can't even, I thought when I first saw the very first clip, and the one that I very first seen has been watched for some reason offline. It was somebody standing like not the video on the to the left of the speaker, a couple rows back or whatever. That's pretty much everywhere now, but it was very close. It was directly behind the speaker, on the right side, and I thought, because you could only see, like, you couldn't really see the speaker debating with Charlie. I thought he got shot face to face. Like, man, if you're gonna have the fucking balls to fucking shoot somebody at his own event that he organized, like, have the balls to fucking go up to the mic, say, "Hey, fuck you," and pull a strap and do what you do. Like, I just don't, man. I don't know. Exactly, the coward behind it is just something that I personally have never seen evil like that, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around it.
And it's like, and for those that really need to pay attention here, Tyler Robinson, the monster that created this, that took Charlie's life, he didn't just destroy Charlie. His movement's going to stand, and it's going to move on stronger than it ever has. But what you did do, and Jason reiterated this multiple times, and I implore anybody to watch Jason's coverage of it or JD's coverage of it, is you destroyed this man's family. You denied his children their father, a loving home. You destroyed your own family. You know, your selfish action, because you didn't like what he had to say, you destroyed your own family, made your family a target of hate. And while you're safely behind bars, they're gonna bear the brunt of the of the, you know, the backlash from it. And I don't blame your family for your horrific actions. You know, but what's your take on it, Cody?
I agree with you. Like, you know, 100%. I've prayed for the family that they're okay, because you know what, that dad did something that no other shooter's done before, and that is, he didn't go get a lawyer. He didn't try to hide it. He didn't do nothing. He called his pastor to keep him from killing himself, and he got him turned in alive. And that's all we can ask for, so the coward couldn't take the coward way out, because that's what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go face the music, you know.
Yeah, I thought they were going to find a body for sure.
Right.
I did not expect for him to be taken alive. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
you know, I thought that was just going to be that for sure. And it is you know, that dad did something heroic, you know, absolutely.
And hard.
Because he knows that his fucking son's cooked, fried.
You know,
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's like being a dad myself, you know, is like just the other day, and I don't care if people see me cry. I don't. The day after this happened, we were sitting there, and I got to go to my daughter's school and have lunch with her. And she's 5 years old, and I got to go take her to the book fair and buy her all these pens and get her a couple books for tonight, you know, for the nighttime. And I just couldn't help but think, like, this is something that Charlie won't ever get to do for his daughter. So his daughter now has to grow up in a broken ass home with a broken ass family, when that is what Charlie preached against. He preached against what the government has done of putting all these moms on welfare and getting the dad out of the house. He wanted the generic American family home to come back. A mom, a dad, a bunch of kids. That's what he said. Get married, prosper, and procreate. Make babies. And he said, do it with love and raise your kids however you want. He never told anybody how to raise their kids. He never told anybody how to do anything. He set the example. I think he was one of the best people that, you know, the saying, it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. And I think, Trev, you and Chris, but both of you understand when I say that, because how many times have you turned around and you see exactly what you do is what your kid does?
Oh, yeah.
You tell your kids, no, 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 no. You know, cussing's one thing. Like, they know not to cuss because it's a word. But, you know, your body language when you get upset or angry, you know, they throw their arms up or whatever, you know, and they look just like you, spit an image of you. But it's what's hot. It's the walking thing that you put out there. And a man is just as important as a woman in the marriage and in the home. And it's part of it, you know, that how many times have you came across, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say this, but a girl with daddy issues, like, guys joke about it, but like, how many times have you met a girl that was fucked up in the fucking head because she didn't have a dad? Because nobody taught her, hey, he opens the door for you, he stands in front of you, he walks behind you, whatever it is to protect you, pay for your food. You don't go Dutch. You know who's gonna set that example? Erica is an amazing mother, and she can do everything perfect, but she can't replace Charlie. There's nobody that can. You know,
exactly.
Nobody can. And the coward, like Trev was saying, and you were saying, and it ties back to what you said. Growing up, me and you went to school, Chris, and we hashed it out in the back of the high school. But when me and you had a beef, whoever won or lost, you put your hand down, you picked him up, you shook hands, and you ended up becoming friends with that dude. 99% of the time that you ever fight somebody, physically whoop it and get down, unless there's like they're a pedophile or something like that.
Pedophiles aren't people, so they don't count.
No.
But you know, when you get into a legitimate disagreement with another man and you go fisticuffs, there's a level of respect gained there, and like somehow you become friends, and somehow you become better people together than you were before as enemies. And when when you're doing this and you're just getting fed all this information, we don't know who's going to attack us. I got a letter in the mail. Where the hell did that come from? I know it came from in my neighborhood, which that's even more scary, because luckily this same dipshit sent a letter about another neighbor's dog and how they were abusing their dog, and they taped it and they used the exact same tape, exact same format, and they exact same broken ass English. Like, you're calling me the idiot, but you can't even type right. You know what I mean? Like, you're calling me stupid. Where's your punctuation at, dummy? You know, like, but this evil that we're standing against is faceless, and that's what's the worst part about it, is they're too scared to stand up by themselves and say, hey, I got a problem with you and this is why. And they know, they just want to insert their dominance of what they think is dominance, or insert their point, and they're using violence to think that they're proving somebody wrong. Here's the thing. Charlie sat at the prove me wrong table, and that man did nothing but permanently prove Charlie right. Everything
Yeah.
He is right, and nobody could ever prove him wrong, ever.
I mean, we'll hit this comment section for a second. Wolf 92, or hold on, let me find it. Wolf Friend 42. What facts are we not spitting for your liking? Because I have been watching and reading some of your stuff, brother, and so far you seem to be discussing more about BBs, from BB guns killing people. If you'd like to ask an ammo question or the function of a rifle, we do have a sniper that's here. So feel free to ask away. But realistically, Charlie was not, like, in all reality, Charlie was not killed by a BB gun or an airsoft gun. So I really don't get your point, brother. And if you say your piece, man, because this is an open platform, we ain't hiding from nobody. So, I mean, ask away. Vaz, good to see you, man. Michelle, it's always great to have you here. Much love. I see a lot of my family here. Dandy Lioness, is great to see you. Yoli, it's good to see you, love. But yeah, here we go. What do you mean, Wolf? You literally here. I'll find your comment about BBs killing people and airsoft. 4,300 psi.
Sneaky spy. No, Kirk was shot in the neck from about, well, Cody can tell you, 150 yards. This Cody is, when we say sniper and two Purple Hearts,
right?
Cody we live in the same neighborhood. We went, which is crazy because we were in prison together, like weird shit, man. But this fucking man and I sat down, and within 30 minutes, before the news, a day before the news had released a damn thing, had diagnosed to the point, the building, the distance from Google Maps, everything, down to the report of the rifle from different sound, from the sound of the report of the rifle from various different clips of footage.
Yeah.
So we had the caliber. Cody had came up with the caliber, the distance, the exact, out of all of the different spots, which there's several where there could have been snipers. I've seen a map where there could have been fucking, I think it was like 10 or 12 different places that he could have been shot from. Obviously we knew, okay, front side, left neck, but Cody diagnosed that in a fucking sure, okay, realistically, maybe we spent an hour on it, but you're talking to a real sniper here. You're talking about somebody who did this shit for our country. And I witnessed him do this shit, and I was like, God damn, man, it was just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, no, what I was saying is sneaky spy. No, he was not stabbed. You're fucking smoking crack, bro. He was shot. He was a political and fucking religious martyr, and that's what it is, man.
Why? I hear Wolf. Yeah. Like, all right. What? Truth and facts are not frowned upon here. This is an open forum for anybody to ask or, debate or whichever way you want to go. It's like, but what we just told you is facts. It's like, and we didn't even go as deep into it as we could have, because I could start listing off, Tyler Robinson was a left-wing fanatic, not a Democrat. He's one of the demons of the freaking psycho left.
The radical left.
Yes, and they shouldn't even be grouped up with moderate Democrats at all, because moderate Democrats still give a shit about our country. These are fanatic, extremists. So I'm asking this genuinely from, I would like to know, what is it that you feel like we haven't represented here? We're talking about the violence that is attacking and targeting our communities, and we're hoping we could start a dialogue here. So I mean, if you'd like to add, bro, if you think we're misrepresenting something, then speak your piece, brother. It's a fucking America. This ain't a dictatorship, bro. Like we're gonna toss you out of here. Otherwise, if I was gonna be that way, we would have already smoked you. If I thought you were just, being a jerk, we already tossed you out.
It's funny, Chris. He says that I found the exact comment. It's in the very beginning of the chat. It says even a .177 caliber, BB can instantly kill. Man, yeah. If you shoot him through the eyeball and hit you have to have
from a high PSI rifle, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's less than, it's more less than lethal than it is lethal.
It's still lethal, but
shooting a tungsten round, yeah, you could punch through the brain or through the skull. But here's the thing: you'd have to be super close, and even pumping 300 bar into an air rifle, you're still going to have all kinds of factors that a BB gun, yes, it will kill. But I mean, when we're talking facts, like, do I believe everything the news has told us? Do us three believe the news has told us the truth? Absolutely not. But do you know what this world would do if they were told the truth?
Oh my God, man.
Art.
People would fucking lose their minds.
And that's the thing. It's like, I don't trust anything that the mainstream media says. And I know a lot of people, on the left will scream, oh, because you only listen to Fox News. No, like, I include them in mainstream media. Everything is bought and paid for, fear mongering. And, it's like, so if I want to know what somebody said, I either look for the documents that prove it. I look for I look for them saying it, and if I got to watch, an hour worth of freaking C-SPAN, or like a Senate hearing just to hear that one person talk, so I don't see the edited version where they twist it around, I'll do so. But, just because, Sean Hannity or, Rachel Maddow says what it is. Jason Vukovic in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to have you here, bro. But we don't listen to no mainstream media, nothing. Nobody it's just like, because all it does is perpetuate fear mongering, and it just furthers this, the division. It's gasoline on the fire. And if you watch it, they're bought and paid for to say opposing things, to create hate and to create strife. They literally the embodiment of us versus them mentality.
Well, and it's not new either. I mean, there's, we can rewind to this summer and find ads of, people wanted for protest purposes, being hired for protesting purposes. And, there's fucking ICE agents getting cement blocks thrown through their car windows.
Yep.
Molotov cocktails being thrown. Like, come on, man. You can buy and pay for anything you want in this country, unfortunately. And unfortunately, the people in power have the ability to fucking do something like this at the end of it.
It's, what I think it comes down to is they want to detract our minds from the real issues at hand. They want to separate it out because, there's multiple people on both sides of the aisle in political standing that have deep ties to foreign governments when they shouldn't. If you have deep ties to enemy countries, bro, like you, I don't give a fuck even if it's an ally. You have no business running our government. It's okay to have diplomatic relationships, but not at the expense of where you're having closet backdoor deals. And the other thing is that people realize is like they want to detract from other issues, like like they try to put a positive, upbeat spin on that fucking map camp bullshit up in that was up in Vermont. Ain't happening. It's like these are the monsters. This is going after child predators. I'm glad Jason's here because he can weigh in on this 100%, and he does on a daily basis. These like they don't want us going after scum like this, but this is a common ground argument. This is like going after child predators is a common enemy. We can unify on that statement alone, and that is enough to bring people to the table for a conversation if you're willing to put your ego down. Child churches that they're all infiltrated. A lot of these religious institutions, I've learned through Jason, are infiltrated by just people with ill intent. He just did a reel about a guy that was running like a school, one of those religious schools that was using it as a means for corporal punishment in sexual assault. It's like that's a good bridge right there to get people to sit down, because I think universally rational minds we can get behind all that. Jason in here, the specifics of murder are less important than the reverberations it has generated in our society. There is always a push for someone to eliminate strong voices, and this is what has happened. Absolutely, man.
That's it right there. That right there is it, man.
100% is and this is what, like, brother, this is what gets me it gets me scared for even you, Jay, because anybody that's got that balls to shake that tree and shake that bee's nest, bro, now this is proof right here. It comes with a fatal price.
Absolutely.
People don't like when people buck the system, bro. They just don't. But
you're not. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it, Trev.
You're not at risk of getting banned, man. Like, we're all adults here.
Mm-hmm.
Chris thought you said something. There was not there was a disconnect of what he thought was going on, and me as well, because I'm keeping my eye on chat. And you're not going to be banned here, man. We're all adults. It is what it is. Like, now, if you want to fucking say some crazy shit about loving pedophiles, or you know what I mean, celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, you can get the fuck out of here. But that's not the case.
Yeah, bro, Wolf. Like, if I'm not we're not throwing you out of there, and I agree there was a disconnect, and I apologize. This is an open forum for anybody that wants to have a conversation. This is what this is designed for. And if you and I extend the offer to you, 100%. Hey, Trev, could you read Jay's comment real quick? I'm gonna just run to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
I might be.
I lost Trev. Here, if you want to take it over for 1 second, I'll be right back.
Lost Trev. So Jason said the opposition is real, united and motivated. Therefore, we must recognize the opposition and unite in similar manner. Therefore, is a little room for separation at this point in our society. Well said. It is. We have to find the common ground, and we can even find the common ground in something we don't agree about, because if it's something like immigration, okay, if somebody says nobody's allowed in and somebody says everybody's allowed in, why can't we meet in the middle and say, okay, 50% of the people are allowed in? Why can't we find common ground? But instead, everybody's so stuck in being in their own points and being right. And it's not about right or wrong. and we have to unite, and we have to come together, and we cannot unite against another side. All we can unite against is the people, or the problem, not the people, and that would be the small select few of radicals that are on either side, because justice. I don't care if you're out there trying to kill a left-wing politician. Something's wrong with you. If you're trying to kill a spokesman of the left right now because you feel eye for an eye, something's wrong with you. We need to find common ground that we can talk and have discord, and we can have a conversation and agree to disagree. And even if we walk away from the table and we didn't get anything figured out, we can be calm. We can come. We can be courtesy, have enough courtesy for each to get through it and not spew hate. We don't got to call names, and that's what Charlie represented best, right? He might have smirked and laughed about something when somebody called him a name. They call him a Nazi, and he's like, whatever, because he knew he wasn't.
Right.
But if you're not secure in yourself and you're worried about what people think of you, and I think that's maybe what it is, right? Lack of self-confidence. I say, screw you. You don't know what you really are. So then you get offended because you feel like you defend yourself. Well, no. If you're not that piece of crap, if you're not what they say you are, then don't get upset by it. But we have to stand together for something, because otherwise we're going to fall for everything. And that's where we're at right now. We are falling for everything. And there's nothing that's going to help us get back to common ground except for a little bit of decency.
For sure. Absolutely. Wolf's friend 42. I thought today that the shooter, his partner, is transitioning. I personally, I don't know how either Cody or Chris feels about that, but does that change a huge significant change to what this all is about? I mean,
that kid must have been really conflicted having a right-wing household, being right-wing.
Sure. And LDS,
hating him.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, man. And I don't think, we've had enough trans shootings recently that, some people may say, what's one more? And I'm not standing up for either side here. I'm just throwing out there, does it fucking really change at this point the damage that's done? Because a lot of these other shootings were done, had trans motive, and we can't say at this point, if that's a thing. Obviously, if there's inscriptions on the casings of "Catch This Fascist" and the OWO or OVO, whatever. I know I've read into that a little bit. I think it has something to do with furries, or like you said in chat. But I think the significance, this wasn't put on the news as, and granted, this was just found out, but I think today that, his partner is trans and whatnot. But does that change, in these other shootings? This is what I'm trying to say. In these other shootings, it's trans teenager shot up a high school.
Right.
Charlie Kirk getting fucking brutally not murdered, but martyred in front of 3,000 people, and his fucking wife, and his fucking kids, and everybody with a cell phone broadcasting it. Mm-hmm. I think is a little. There's a difference. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I think that this is a little bit different. He may have. You're not just going to shoot somebody because you don't have any motivation to. At this point, we don't know this person's motivation on killing him. Thankfully, for the first time in a long time, we have the shooter alive. We'll find this out. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Unless he's just a complete fucking nut. But obviously he is. But I mean, is he going to tell the truth? Is he going to show remorse to some amount and spill the fucking beans?
Probably not.
We're gonna have to find out.
You know, I mean, well, you were to your point about what changes in this. Like now, whether or not the individual is trans or not, it doesn't change the atrocity.
No,
It like in the transitioning is the irrelevant fact. Like that is the component in there to manufacture hate. What we need to be focusing on what was their motivation behind it? Because there are people that kill people because they love them. You know what I'm saying? We saw this with John Lennon and others. They killed them because they were obsessive. You know what I mean? We need to find a root cause of what the motivations were. Somebody being gay, straight, black, white, it don't matter. That's the irrelevant fact. If they leverage their identity politics as the motivation, then it's something to talk about. Until we have those facts, they're still a killer. They're still a murderer. And anything before those facts come out, that is just the tool to manufacture hate and further division. So what would happen? Because, all right, we'll just for the sake of the argument with the trans community is, we'll say Blair White, very conservative trans creator. And there's countless other trans conservatives that would have if they went berserk and started shooting somebody or killed a political figure, is the trans argument going to be your fact? No, they're going to go with right-wing extremists only. You know what I mean? They're not even going to acknowledge trans anything. They're just going to focus on right-wing fanatic, alt-right craziness, and that's it. We only focus on the trans argument from our side of the fence. You know what I mean? But until that comes out that was a motivating factor or that played a role, that part, who he was sleeping with, that's his business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's still a fucking crazy that committed it. But it also comes down to this whole idea, because I know they're all, the big topic once again of, get rid of the guns. At what point do we start blaming the fucking operator and stop blaming the fucking machine?
For sure.
Fucking
cars kill people. You know what I mean?
Yep. We're gonna ban cars now.
Right.
Wasn't it the linebacker? One of the linebackers for the Steelers. What did he say? He said something like, a person shoots person, they blame the gun. If you push somebody in front of a trainer, they're gonna cut your arms off.
They blaming the arms.
Division. Where's the break that you think killing is okay? And why does it matter how somebody got killed? Why does it matter? The mass shooting and gun controlling and to do anything. This was a bolt action hunting rifle.
Right. That holds a total of 4 rounds.
Yeah, that is the furthest from gun control. That that a muzzle loader has a better chance of getting banned than that.
For sure.
Again, that's the same thing as the trans topic. It's just smoke to throw out there to get off of the topic of why are we so desensitized that we think murder is the option we need to go with? What did Charlie do so wrong to you that you had to kill him?
Exactly. But you know what? Wolf, we'll get to your question in just a second, buddy. But no, and I think I see this most relevant in when Jason goes live. I think our biggest enemy of society, and we see this, Trev, you see this all the time in the comments, and our biggest enemy is ignorance, ego, and the unwillingness to accept when one is wrong. Not anybody in this world is 100%, the gatekeeper of the truth. The truth is always in the middle unless we have definitive facts. 100%. You have to be able to admit when you're wrong. You also have to be able to admit, that you don't know something. It's okay. And that's, educating the mind is your greatest weapon going, and you're going to need it, as we move forward to rebuild everything. Be willing to accept some things. Like, I agree with climate things, and I'm not getting into a whole climate discussion. But on the topic of violence, like, yes, I agree. Like, that there's certain weapons that should not be in civilian hands, and they are not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to walk into a sporting goods store and walk out with a Browning 50 cal chain fed machine gun, that I'm going to mount to the roof of my car. That's not happening.
I mean, you if you really want to, you can just get a Lima 6 and throw a FRT in it. It's not a 50 cal, it's a 223 civilian legal, but just saying, you know what I mean? Just throwing it out there. You know what I mean?
But until I got, and it's great. Like, I'm grateful that again, this wasn't an AR-15, so I don't have to listen to that shit.
Right.
And I hate saying, thankfully, it wasn't this weapon, because it makes it feel like we're demeaning Charlie's death. But at least that's how I feel about it. But
I agree.
like, we need to start blaming the fucking operators of these things. We need to allocate proper funding and money to the mental health industry, because the mental health industry, like, to be on its base level, bro, is not there to. There's idealistic people, and there are great people within the medical field that care about the people coming in, ensure proper rehabilitation, they get proper treatment. But a lot of times, they're just there to subdue you, keep you quiet, and that's through over medicating, in just shackling you down. It's just same thing. We see this in the drug business, with people trying to get off opiates to get put on the methadone clinic. What are you really solving there? You're making the government your drug dealer.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's the worst decision I ever made. Like, I am in full support of medically assisted treatment, but I think instead of being on it, so I'm 9 years off of opiates, right? I think instead of being on it for 9 fucking years, that you should get on it and they should rapid taper you down and get you off of it, instead of being fucking addicted to something that doesn't get you high, at least for me personally. When you first start taking either methadone or subs, you can definitely get high off of it. But once you've been taking the same dose every day for years and years and years, it does not do anything except keep me well until it's time for me to take my meds. And I've got to take them or else I start getting sick. It's fucking ridiculous. And you're exactly right. It is, big pharma is now my drug dealer. When I used to be a heroin addict, I'd go to Denver and get heroin. Now, I go to the fucking pharmacy and it's disgusting. I hate it. But the withdrawal is worse than coming off of actual dope. It's prolonged. It has extra symptoms involved with it. It's horrible, man. And on top of it, you lose your teeth. Like, man, I had to get my full dental implants before I was 30. Like, you know what I mean? It's fucked up, dude.
And that's the medication.
And that's literally, like, people go through it. There's a huge lawsuit right now against Suboxone specifically, over it.
Here we got a question for Cody from Wolf. To the sniper here, isn't it true that headshots are frowned upon due to the head often moving?
So if you're going to take a shot, you go for the deadly triangle. Nose, nipple, nipple. The head's smaller, right? You take your shot between your nipples. If you want a definite kill, that's exactly right. Yeah, your head moves, but I mean, if you shoot center, the head doesn't move much off center. If you turn it this way, I mean, if you're trying to you're trying to cavity their head off, that's a different story. But if you want to make sure you do the job, that's where you aim. Center mass, right between their nipples, hit them right where their heart's at, right in the central nervous system. You don't want to deviate off of that, because then you have to re-engage, and you don't want to have to re-engage. You want to get one shot and get out of Dodge. Unfortunately, that happened. And I do want to bring up that, like, the one thing I will say from seeing all this, this wasn't just no hunting, you know, some kid that was a really good hunter. Because I'll tell you, taking a shot from an elevated position is not easy. Shooting downhill at somebody is actually more difficult than shooting most directions. People generally compensate way up. For some reason they overcompensate when they shoot downhill, just statistically speaking, I guess.
Yeah.
But even though it was only 120 meters out, you know, to be exact, it was 121 meters. So whatever that is, 3.3 feet each. But, you know, that is just, that's close, but it's not. And unless you've ever killed someone, that's not an easy feat. And speaking from somebody that's looked down a reticle, it's not like having a pistol in your hands. That, you know, I've been in tons of firefights. That's a whole different ball game. When you look down the reticle at a man, there's something intimate about that. It sounds disgusting, but you can see their facial hair. You can see them breathing. You can see them moving. It's not like, you know, you're just praying and praying like the terrorists did to us. It's not like you're just hoping you hit them. It's none of that. You're on target and you're zoomed in. And then to be able to do what he did, it's not an easy feat. So to answer your question, yes, a headshot isn't necessarily frowned upon because you should shoot from nose to nipple anyways, but that's just to give yourself room if you miss.
You know what? And I think to your thing, yeah, there's something intimate about it. I mean, you're staring at someone's final moments. I've talked to snipers I know a guy that was is an Army Ranger. A friend of mine was also in force reconnaissance. Both of which new guys in their units that, you know, that would run Overwatch positions or intel things, and sometimes they would lay on a target on a compound for weeks at a time. You know, guys I know that have done undercover investigations with the FBI or the ATF have told me the same thing. Like, you're watching somebody for such a lengthy period of time, you start to, you know, there's a level of it where you're seeing them, you know, getting their kids off the bus, you know, when they're going out to dinner, like, you know, you're watching their every motion, and you're the one that's going to take them out of these equations.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been pretty freaking wild, bro. Like, it's a really insane concept.
Different. Hey, real quick, not to cut you off, I gotta go get these kids, my little ones, down to bed. Gotta read them a book, put them in bed. And that's what's going to change this world. We gotta raise
100%.
raise our damn kids different. You can't be the monster and act like some kind of Billy badass. You got to be the loving, sensitive parent that needs to be there. And when you're wrong, you go back and you tell that little kid, hey, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to yell at you for that. I shouldn't even have yelled at you. I was wrong. I thought you need to be able to correct yourself with humility and love. If you raise your kids better, we got to turn it around now. And that the only way we can do that for our kids is by making them the change and showing them the change in ourselves. Otherwise, we're hopeless. Hey, Chris, I appreciate you. Trevor, as always, love you, brother. I'll talk to you later on. And Chris,
right on, brother.
Stay in contact, brother.
You got it, bro. Good having you here, man. It was an honor, bro.
Thank you, man. Have a good night. Bye.
See you soon, man.
So, Chris, do you want to get? Well, I want to say one thing real quick. To Wolf, he said taking a squirrel at 100 yards is easy. Sure, you hit a squirrel with a 22 anywhere in its body, it's fucking dead. You know, a squirrel's a squirrel. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Something that I want to touch on that Cody didn't say is, like, that doesn't necessarily mean this person was trained. It means, one, for sure he was evil. But two, you know, I hunted when I was younger. You know, you take a deer, there's something, it's kind of the same way. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. Like, that's, you know, it's a very almost there's a connection there when you take that life. Regardless, at least from my perspective, animal, like hunting when I was younger, that was how it was put into my head. But so any dude or anybody, anybody who has hunted deer or hunted game, and coming from Utah, which is a very gun happy state, they've got a lot of, I used to live there. There was guns everywhere, more so than Colorado, a lot, dude, a lot. So anybody who's hunted multiple times or even once or twice, like the dude wasn't aiming for his neck for sure.
Yeah.
He was, either missed trying to hit him in the body and went a little bit too high, or was trying to be a super special sniper and hit a target the size of a watermelon from a decent amount away without a single shot, knowing how wind's affecting. We can get into some conspiracy shit, like
Yeah.
where that rifle did not come with him off of the building. That rifle did not come with him up to the building. At least the rifle that they showed us that they have retrieved, claiming that that's the rifle. So was that weapon staged? You know what I mean? Like,
it's very interesting. In I don't believe that he acted by himself. You had to there had to be. Firmly believe there was multiple people involved.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to get bogged down until some definitive detail comes out, because I see a lot of this rising up that it was Israel or another Mossad operation. Until we have something definitive that points in those directions, I don't even want to entertain that. I don't because that is a whole nother separate issue. People perpetuating that a Mossad operation took out a major political figure in our country. That's going to create more than just the problems here. But you cannot pull off this by yourself. Young guy like that, you needed spotters. There's so many components to this. It was a large crowd. Knowing exactly stage placement. Right. What if he decided to change the thing?
For sure.
Or decide it's a rain day, he decides to do it inside.
Right. I mean, logically speaking, so Cody and I, like I said, when he pulled up, and I swear to it gave me goosebumps when the media put out where he was, where the shooter was at. Because Cody had that shit dialed in, dude. We were on Google Earth, and it was just done. You know what I mean? It was absolutely crazy to see a sniper counter. I don't know what the word would be. I guess I don't know. Reverse this whole shit. But if you look at it from Google Earth, where he was at, it would make sense for him to be exactly where he was at that campus, because it's almost like an amphitheater, right? They've got stairs coming down, and then there's the center, and everything is focused that direction.
Right.
So, I mean, granted, most people would be like, okay, yeah, that would be a great place to, have a speaker for sure. And he probably would say, without any conspiracy theory, like, if we want to, put our glasses on for a minute and not look at all the crazy realistic probable shit. Realistically, dude could have been like, he's coming here, he's going to be in this location.
Right.
But I completely agree. There's who knows how many people involved. How did the gun get from the fucking roof to the wooded area they found it in? And on top of that, why the fuck? Here's just another weird thing that my brain caught. It's broad daylight when they find this weapon, right? And the picture they took, there's flashlights on. Like, they're using flashlights to illuminate this rifle when it's broad daylight. Doesn't make any sense. Like, they're just weird things, man. a lot of it doesn't make. It seems like a fucking. It really seems like it is a. I hate to say it, but it seems like it was a very planned out and not by one individual. I'm not trying to allude with this at the same time trying to allude to something, if you get what I'm saying. Like you had just spoken about it. I don't want to say it was an op, but I feel like it was not a full on operation. There's no
Yeah. I mean, it's complicated because, you know, we're obviously limited right now. The man hasn't said anything yet. Cash Patel and Bongino have, like, you know, they just gave us the timeline of what they know so far. But I mean, you do not, you know, you don't get to Charlie Kirk's level without pissing off some fucking dangerous ass people. And you know, and I'll say this a million times over. You know, look at Jay. Like, Jason shakes that fucking proverbial tree, bro. Shake the trash out of it. And you know, he's had churches throwing cease and desist. He's had people with the intent to send him back. People that, you know, show up in the chat, and I'm not talking about the losers with the vanilla ice comments. I'm talking about that I've seen some fucking dark shit said.
Yeah. No,
and like Jason said not that long ago, you know, if you're going to become a loud voice, it's going to be met with severe opposition. Charlie said a lot of shit, and the same goes for, you know, I could say, you know, I don't agree with Sam Cedar and his political beliefs, but it's the same principles apply. You go out and you say stuff, and there's going to be opposing viewpoints that are going to want you dead for speaking like the way you talk. And that does not an endorsement. Do not go hunting down Sam Cedar or opposing viewpoints.
Right. Yeah, we don't.
Nobody wins in this. Nobody wants more of this.
Well, and so here's another aspect of it too, is he's been actively doing this since he was 19 years old, 19 to 31. That's a long time to make a lot of enemies or piss the wrong person off, man.
Yep. Think about some of the power players, bro. He shook hands with some of the biggest governments in the planet.
I mean, the dude was big enough to take Air Force Two, like his body to be taken by Air Force Two from Utah back to Arizona with with our assistant, or not assistant, our vice president, you know, there leading the procession.
Right.
Like, definitely power moves. That dude was making power moves for sure.
I mean, you know, and his goal was to inspire a generation to get involved in politics.
Yep.
He would, you know, and there's so, like, and I'm glad that his work is going to continue. You know, we're going to see a lot of people. I think we'll see, like, Michael Knowles will start picking stuff up. I'm sure Ben Shapiro's going to go. I would like to see Candace Owens kind of continue on to work.
Yeah.
Because she was closest with him. His wife said that, you know, his show is not going to end. There were still going to be those lives. Yeah. But to see just the absolute devastation that this has caused, not just for Charlie's family, but just for people in general, the sorrow, you know, the sadness. You know, we can't, you know, we can't allow these monsters to dictate, like, violent reaction or dictate just, you know, a dark response. We need to, this is whether you like, you know, like Charlie or not, we need to agree to disagree or agree to sit down and conduct each other, have a conversation with civility. And sometimes I feel like in order to make that work, we need to have the loud parts out loud. We could just have the ugly part. Just, if you got to vent, scream at each other for a few minutes, if that's going to get the gas out of your system, then you could talk rationally, I think. Because people have, I've forgotten who it was, a friend of mine, Brian, had said that People just have so much pent up aggression and anger, they just don't know where to direct it to.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people even know why they're mad. I don't think a lot of people understand where like they're so like, even if you, when people get frustrated, when you get to a certain point, sometimes in your head you know exactly what you want to say, but when you pack so much shit inside the closet, bro, and then eventually you go to open the door to take something, it's just gonna all dump out because you haven't said anything. And because you've hid inside your echo chamber, you've only talked amongst people that agree with you. That's not healthy either. It's not productive unless it's talking about the fact that child predators are fucking demons and pieces of shit. Now that's an echo chamber we can all stand in.
Absolutely. And if not, you can fuck off.
But those are the types of people that need to be ostracized from society.
Yeah.
Let them freeze to death. I don't care. You don't belong in this amongst, civilized society. But if we let this train run away, bro, it's like, if you remember that movie, Mel Gibson's movie, The Patriot, bro.
Right. Absolutely.
He said the best thing, one of the best lines, and it applies to this more. This won't be fought on some distant battlefield. Like, it's going to happen, and your children will watch it unfold with their own eyes.
Right. Do you think that, personally speaking, and you don't have, obviously you don't have to respond to this, but do you think that this is, we just saw what all the violence and all the crazy shit that happened this summer. Do you think that specifically with the Charlie Kirk situation and what's happening right now, that there is going to be I saw some shit of the Proud Boys have been disbanded. They supposedly, right? They've came back into the picture, like all this crazy shit. Do you think that there is going to be a reaction of violence and it blamed on for Charlie? Because like I said, man, I'm going to a protest in a few days protesting his death, his murder.
Are you asking, do I think that there'll be a move from the right or a false flag? Because that matters.
I mean, I guess both for sure, because I think that in specific situations, it could be viewed by a lot of people as both or either or, you know what I mean? So I want to just know your opinion on this, because
I think the risks are high. I think the stakes are really high right now. And I think in the coming months, I think this is a very serious possibility.
Yeah.
And this is why we need to be very proactive. And not just here, we all, in any person that's got a platform, if you got a phone, if you got anybody that can produce a video, I don't care what part of the fucking political spectrum you stand on, you need to stand out there and let everybody in the world know that we are not going to tolerate this, political violence. Right. There cannot be a retaliatory measure. If you want to take action back, you take it to the ballot box. You fight it on policy. We don't fight our own people with guns and bullets, because you don't like what they said. And the gun is irrelevant. Don't focus on that. I don't care what weapon it is. You do not use violence to silence, somebody you just disagree with. It is not. We aren't some fucking banana republic, bro. We are not living in a dictatorship. If you're entitled whether to not like or agree with conservative policies, you're entitled to not agree with Democrat policies. You are entitled to that. That is what makes America us. Opposing viewpoints,
right?
But we are fucking better than this. and this is a plea to moderate Democrats, independents, and moderate Republicans, people with common sense, that extremist groups will not be tolerated. We will not accept you. Everybody, I get this all the time. Oh yeah, you support alt-right extremists. How do you figure that? Because you know how we don't want to know what conservative people do. Why we don't sit there and shout and rant and rave about alt-right extremists? Because we don't take them seriously and we just ignore them. And they strip power. You're the only ones keeping them fucking relevant. But when you have woke extremist ideology, this is a dangerous concept to. It's wrought with political suppression. You're promoting deviant behavior, thinking it's acceptable to walk around naked in front of kids and bringing them to pride parades and stuff like that. You want to celebrate being gay? That you are entitled to do so, but not at the expense of kids.
Absolutely.
It is not. When I was in school, I didn't know who my teachers were sleeping with. Why the fuck is that a topic of conversation? There's multiple situations where teachers are walking in, tearing down the American flag and teaching their class that they should hate being American, basically perpetuating the hatred for America. How is that productive? It's not.
I saw a video today of a college student walking in to class, and he had a T-shirt with an American flag on it and said, "This is my pride flag." And the teacher fucking lost it, man, and kicked the kid out of class. He's like, "Dude, I fucking pay to go to school here. This is my pride flag. You're okay with people wearing gay pride? Like, this is my pride flag.
Yeah.
I pay your salary." Dude wasn't listening to any of it. Get the fuck out of the classroom.
Right. What in the things that I have seen in the last year, 2 years, I've seen an increase in anti-Jew rhetoric, anti-Semitic comments. Look through some of the spots in Portland, Oregon. There were situations where there were Jewish students that were barricaded in a library. And you're gonna call me a Nazi? Like I said before, check your own shit.
For sure.
You're publicly going out to assault people. You're rallying around. Like, I support, and I feel bad for the people in the Gaza Strip and the conflict that's going on out there, because it's not the Palestinian people, it's fucking Islamic extremists. It's that are causing this. Terror cells that not even the Palestinian people fucking welcome. But then you have the audacity to fly an ISIS flag in this country
and burn an American one at the same time.
Right. You come to our house. You flood America. You're fentanyl fucking dealers. Not everybody illegal that comes in is a monster. Some of them are fleeing cartel country and other dangerous ass places. I get it. But if I was going to, if you go to a friend's house, you certainly don't climb through the window. Go through the front door. And you would be given asylum. But when I see, and I've said this many times before on past episodes, when I see the people in Maui suffering, when I see Flint, Michigan, the victims of the Palestine train derailment, the countless people suffering in California with the fentanyl, the homeless crisis, the crime rates where they welcome it, the people in Helene, and we're gonna pay out because somebody came here fucking illegally. Bullshit. Because, especially in the homeless problem in California, let me tell you what the problem is with that thing, is those kids are exposed to all of the demons and darkness that this world has to offer. The fuck you think? Do you think everybody in Tent City is just some happy-go-lucky, friendly person? No, some of them have been there for 100 years. They're transient, crazy. It's insane that that's even a topic of conversation, that we have to know that we can know that children are going to bed hungry in this country. You have families that are fucking working 5 fucking jobs to support their family. You know, and the family, both their mother and their father, none of them are even home half the time. Who's raising that? How's that a family anymore?
Right. You're completely right.
It's because this becomes their teacher. It becomes their babysitter.
Yeah.
It's a poison and a sickness. You want to know why my generation and my parents, you know, and all the generations before me were fine? It's because we didn't have to fucking rely on the fucking internet. Hell, like I grew up in my aunt and uncle's house, bro, pretty much. And I go over there and we'd play games and stuff like that for a little bit. But if in the summer, it was get the fuck outside. You know, if it was staying at my dad's, get the fuck outside. You know, you had to have human interaction that wasn't synthetic through a computer screen. There's a great big world out there. Stay the fuck off of these. You know, take a break from social media for a bit, unless you're watching me or Jason or you know, people that matter. Like, you know, this is the only social media where you're going to find the truth. But I welcome anybody of opposing viewpoints. You come here, have a conversation.
And I think that's it, right? I think that, unfortunately, it's such a simple thing to do, right? It's this thing that makes sense. And yet we just had a fucking martyr over it.
Yeah.
You know?
But we ain't going to have no more of this.
No. I firmly believe, man, that this is not got to change something. This is going to change. Whether it's on a massive level wave through the United States or it's changing one thing, it's got to change. It's got to change, man.
You know what I like, and I'm because we talked about a lot of dark stuff. Let me tell you something that I think is a positive that's going on right now. People gotten fucked by the system so bad over the last decade, maybe 20 years. Can't afford nothing. You're seeing an increase in homesteading. Seeing an increase in mom and pop businesses, a return to like mom and pop shops. Anthony Arillotta's family owned the biggest produce company in the Northeast. Wine grape distribution, fresh produce and stuff like that. If you could talk to anybody from that area, it was the fucking pulse of Springfield, Mass. In all the neighboring areas. We need more businesses like that are going to generate, like, you know, how many, you know, food is always a love language, bro. It's like one of the best things, a common ground thing that we can stand on. You know, breaking bread with somebody, having, you know, a good conversation over, you know, dinner. Anthony's family supplied that for people. You know, fresh fruit, all these different things. And it's so important that we see and encourage this increase in people farming up their own land. You know, and you see a lot of things. It's crazy when the government tells you, no, you can't do that. Well, fuck you. We're going to do it anyways. That's what you say.
Right.
Because ultimately, they work for us. It's not the other way around. You're not going to tell me I can't have a garden. You're going to tell me I can't collect rainwater. I didn't realize you own stock on the fucking sky. You know, we need, the more people start doing this, and the problem is actually, it's not even a problem. The more important thing is if the world went sideways, it taught these people self-reliance. See, a return to barter and trade to help other people. And all of these things, my wife is part of a network of people in this area that trade things, work together, that just want to, they sharing vegetables, eggs, tips, advice, help them build shit, fix things. That's a fucking community right there. And so if you're willing to help somebody with something that you find joy in, whether it's gardening or, putting a roof on something or you doing things like that, if you're willing to help them with, despite political belief, that's the part you got to focus on. You're already conversating, and you're proof that they're not your enemy. Sit down with each other, work together. And if we can, you don't have to agree on policies. You don't have to agree on those things. You don't have to agree on a religious affiliation. But we can't hate each other, bro. You know this. We can't do it because nobody wins in this.
No, not at all. And especially those of us that are parents, I get that the younger generation, Gen Z in particular, I don't know what the fuck they've got going on, but as a parent, you're completely right. Me and Cody have kids who go to school together, man, and you would be astonished at some of the shit that goes on. The community that we live in is the so opposite of grassroots that, me and my wife, our house is paid off. We're good. Only a couple years old. And I am ready, so ready to say fuck it and get completely out, go get a chunk of land. You know what I mean? And have somewhere that has a grassroots community, not directly complete hippie bullshit, but access to that. Because you're right, that's what it's about. And I believe if you live your life that way, there's going to be a lot less stress. There's going to be a lot more peace. You're not going to have that mental load of having to deal with a fucking HOA. Dude, when my wife, she's had cancer twice. Thankfully, she's cancer free now. When she had cancer, the only thing when she could muster up the energy was her garden, right? We live in an HOA, and the HOA, we're not allowed to have a privacy fence because our backyard is backed up to a green strip that is a communal area, right? And anything interfering with that is an issue. So I fought the HOA twice over her plants, being taller than the fucking 4-foot fence that we're allowed to have. And for a woman who has cancer, let her have her fucking plants, man. Stop harassing. You and I were on the phone the other day, and they're over here trying to fuck with my shit, and I tweaked out. You know what I mean? I'm not playing when it comes to these goddamn plants anymore, man. I'm over it.
Bro, first off, why is it that I've seen the videos. I worked in real estate for a long time. I saw the videos, plenty of videos of HOAs overstepping bullshit that they pull. So HOAs are just a pain in the ass, bro. It's just bullshit because now you pay all this fucking money. You finally got a piece of your own. You're already getting fucked by the government.
Right.
And now you got some hard-nosed prick.
Yeah.
Right. You got some hard-nosed prick with a clipboard that's going to come around and be like, yeah, sorry, I don't like the fact that you have a jack-o'-lantern in the front. Fuck off. Are you paying my mortgage? I will tell you what. I'll take the jack-o'-lantern down when you pay part of the mortgage.
Right.
It's there's too much government overreach. You get taxed on your fucking car. You get taxed on your house. They get, if you make 2 cents, they get a penny of it, and then they tell you to fucking smile and nod.
Good, what I mean?
It's yes, sir, please give me another.
Right.
And that's why I don't understand when you have these people that are just are so hell bent to run in there and be please give me more taxes. Are you crazy? I've seen there's plenty of them videos. I think sane people can get behind. How about you want to get it behind an abolition sign? How about we tell the government we ain't paying nothing no more? We'll stage a national level. We won't pay no more. Have fun in April. when not a single fucking check comes in. And then on top of it, like there was a guy, used to work for a trucking company. Motherfucker is working 2 jobs, bro, because his fucking tax bill every year, he owed the government like $8,000 because he made too much money. So he owes them $8,000 for working for another company?
Yeah, they're smoking fucking crack, bro.
Like, that's great. And then if he doesn't pay that shit, you go to jail. You lose your house. Crazy shit. It's crazy. It's like, but slowly but surely going forward. Yeah. We need to put our money where things we support. And therefore, like, it's like somebody share up Jason Vukovic, the GoFundMe started by Michelle. You want to put your money towards something? Fuck the IRS. Put it towards Jason Vukovic. Set this man free. It's like we need to get the shackle off.
Bro, 17 grand is the fucking magic fucking number. And he's a free man. I promise you, they will fucking let him go as soon as that money is paid. I mean, unfortunately, you got to swallow your pride and know that it's for a dead fucking piece of shit pedophile. But guess what?
Yeah,
it is what it is. You know what I mean? That man deserves the help. You know what I mean? All day long. That's my fucking bro.
The man deserves to walk amongst us, a free man. The amount of people that he's helped, the amount of wisdom that he instills in people from a bipartisan level. The only thing that matters to him, he stands on the side of humanity. Nothing more, nothing less. And I promise you, tomorrow night, Jason Vukovic will be live up on YouTube, as always, for the Fireside Sundays with the Alaskan Avenger. Also, check out Anthony Arillotta. Money, Mayhem, and the Mafia. That shit's coming soon. And trust me, the shit that me and him been working on, that shit's going to hit motherfucking hard. It's like you're going to learn the truth, the inner workings of how we run, not me personally, but how shit was run in New England. Everybody, we're tired of New York, tired of hearing about Boston. You're now going to hear about Western Mass and Connecticut, the truth behind this shit. You're going to learn business, health, all kinds of other stuff beyond, there's things beyond the mafia. But I promise you, Ant is not somebody to sleep on. There's so much wisdom in this man. And he cares so much about people knowing the truth, and he don't beat around the bush. Trust me, I've known this man quite well. He don't beat around the bush. He will tell you if you're wrong. He will own it if he's wrong. But ultimately, these are the people around. Also down below, I got links to what I consider my brothers in arms. Gucci Boomer, Alex McCleary, legendary man with the Stay Strapped crowd. We got JD Delay and the Wood Chipper Tribe. Don't sleep on JD. He's probably the biggest and loudest motherfucker in the room. Johnny Alight, it was my 3rd interview on this channel, and I implore you to go back and take a look at it. Listen to John will draw the connections between the U.S. government and what the mafia had, and how the government now uses said mafia tactics today. Also, go and check out my interview with Jason Vukovic. Man, good interview. He's a powerful dude. I'm honored to have him as like my big brother. I'll always stand with this man through thick and thin. So make sure, and if you really support Jason, the GoFundMe is where it's at. But then you can walk around wearing some dope ass Onelight gear. For sure. Great shirts getting added all the time. Dude's the toughest bastard on the planet, bro. For real. And of course, I cannot not do this because, Ant's my brother. South End Syndicate, Anthony Arillotta, the history of the Genovese crime family in this area. You're going to see more of it in video form, but don't wait. Him and Joe Bradley wrote it. And know what pairs great with South End Syndicate? Some fucking Pozzo blend wine. That's the shit we're drinking over here. So I love everybody that showed up. I see a lot of my Onelight family over here. I see a lot of new faces I've never seen. Me and Trev are going to get the fuck out of here. And anybody in this comment section, anybody DM me up on Instagram. You want to come on? You want to have a serious conversation? I'd prefer to have somebody with opposing viewpoints. But come on here, you could talk. And everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a background. I also want to thank Sergeant Cody Boden for taking the time to come out here. And, you know, we're going to have Cody back real soon. But, you know, try to be respectful to everybody else.
So hopefully interview cooking with Cody or what?
Hell yeah, bro. You know, I think we just keep on cooking this shit. And also, me and Amy, we're gonna get Amy up on here. I think I'd love to hear Amy's perspective on a lot of stuff. You know, it's amazing. And hell, we should do a whole damn sit down, me, you, Amy, and Michelle. If Michelle's in,
I'm always with it, brother. Anytime you want to bless me with being up on your channel, I'm with it.
This is everybody's shit, bro. You know, and I don't say that lightly. It's like I want this to become a safe harbor for other people. I am in the works now. I'm in the talks with different people. We are going to start going out and having conversations face to face with people. And we're going to start going, we're going to go around and we're going to try to, not the fucking Steven Crowder change my mind bullshit. I'd rather people sit down and have a raw conversation, because even for me, there's going to be hard truths that I'm going to learn. But they also be receptive to hear the same shit back. Just don't lead in violence. We cannot be this. We're beyond this. We're better than this. This is fucking America, goddammit. Like, this isn't fucking, communist run like Russia, or fucking North Korea. This is not what we're here for. So it's time for everybody here to stand and fucking deliver. All right, I'm gonna catch you all. I'll be back here on Wednesday night. The Wednesday night, I'm starting to get a hang of these things. So now we're gonna do this Wednesday night. We're gonna get some awesome stuff. I'm gonna have some great guests coming up on some of the lives. We're still gonna do the pre-records, but because time differences are a motherfucker. But everybody, I want everybody to enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I hope to see everybody that was here tonight. I better see you in Jason's live, but behave yourself or we will throw you the fuck out.
That's true.
All right, Governor Trev, it's always a pleasure, brother.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we're out of here, bro. Have a great night, everybody.
Later, y'all.